Your brain can betray you while you sleep. Not by telling a lie, by making a movie you never approved. You wake up, you remember one image, then your stomach drops. Why that person? Why that scene? Why did your own mind put you there? The uncomfortable part is not that sexual dreams happen. The uncomfortable part is that they can feel like evidence. Evidence of a secret desire. Evidence of a hidden version of you. Evidence that your sleeping brain knows something your waking brain is trying to deny. But that is where the trap begins. A dream is not a confession. It is not a courtroom. It is not your brain raising its hand and telling the truth under oath. Most of the time, a dream is closer to a broken editing room. The lights are off. The labels are missing. Old memories, body signals, fears, images, faces, emotions, and random scraps of the day are being dragged across the same table. Then your brain cuts them together. Fast. Messy. Without asking you. And sometimes, the result is sexual. That does not make it meaningless. But it also does not mean what people think it means. To understand why, you have to begin with the strangest part of sleep. REM sleep. Rapid eye movement sleep. It is the stage where your eyes move behind your eyelids, your dreams often become vivid, and your brain can look strangely awake while your body is still asleep. During REM, the brain is not simply resting. It is active. It is sorting. It is connecting. It is testing emotional material in a state where ordinary logic is not fully in charge. That is already a dangerous recipe, because the parts of the brain that care about emotion and memory can become very loud in dreams. But the part that normally says, wait, that makes no sense, can become less powerful. So a stranger can become your teacher. A hallway can become your bedroom. A person from years ago can suddenly stand beside someone you saw yesterday, and you do not question it. Not while the dream is happening. Inside the dream, impossible things feel obvious. The scene changes. The face changes. The feeling stays. This is one reason sexual dreams can be so confusing. The dream may borrow the body language of desire, but it may be built from something else entirely. Curiosity, anxiety, power, embarrassment, memory, loneliness, stress, relief. The dream does not separate those folders neatly. It throws them into the same machine. And the machine is your sleeping brain. Researchers who study dreams often talk about continuity. That means dreams can reflect waking life. Not perfectly, not literally, but in pieces. What you notice, what you avoid, what you worry about, what your body reacts to, what your mind keeps replaying when you are not paying attention. In 2007, dream researcher Antonio Zadra reported on thousands of home dream reports from men and women. About 8% of those everyday dream reports contained some kind of sexual content. That number matters for a simple reason. It means sexual dreams are not some rare malfunction. They are part of ordinary dreaming. But ordinary does not mean simple. Because the same dream can feel like desire in the moment and confusion in the morning. That morning, confusion is the key. When you wake up, your waking brain comes back online. Your rules come back. Your relationships come back. Your identity comes back. Your sense of what is acceptable comes back. Then the dream is judged by the daytime mind. And the daytime mind is strict. It wants meaning. It wants responsibility. It wants a clean answer. So it asks the fastest question. Did I secretly want that? But that question is too small. A sexual dream can include desire. It can include attraction. It can include a real memory or a real longing. But it can also include the opposite. It can include fear. It can include taboo. It can include a person who simply represents danger, status, distance, approval, rejection, or a problem your brain has not finished processing. The dream image is not always the message. Sometimes the feeling is the message. Think about a dream where you are being chased. You do not wake up and assume you secretly wanted to be hunted. You usually understand that the chase may represent pressure, fear, avoidance, or stress. Sexual dreams deserve the same caution. The surface is not always the source. This becomes even clearer when you remember that sleep is not only mental, it is physical. During REM sleep, your breathing and heart rate can become irregular. Your brain activity rises. Your body is mostly still, and the nervous system can produce sensations without a clear external cause. Your brain hates unexplained signals, so it explains them. If there is a body signal, the dream may build a story around it. If there is emotional tension, the dream may give it a face. If there is a memory fragment, the dream may turn it into a scene. This is not the brain revealing a secret. It is the brain trying to narrate noise, like hearing a sound in the dark and instantly inventing a source. Was that the wind? Was that a door? Was that someone outside? The sleeping brain does something similar. Only the dark room is inside your head. A pulse changes. A memory lights up. A face appears. A feeling attaches itself. Then the dream says, here is the story. And because you are asleep, you believe it. This is why the wrong person can appear in a sexual dream. An ex, a friend, a stranger, a celebrity, a person you barely know, a person you do not even like. The waking brain sees the character and panics. But dream characters are often not full people. They are symbols made from pieces. A face can mean closeness. It can mean danger. It can mean attention. It can mean rejection. It can mean something unfinished. It can mean that you saw the person for 3 seconds that day and your brain had extra footage lying around. The dream does not care if the casting choice is awkward. It is not protecting your social life. It is working with available material. That is why dreams can feel cruel. They can place a person in a role they never chose. They can place you in a role you never chose. Then you wake up carrying the embarrassment. But embarrassment is not proof. It is just the daytime mind reacting to a nighttime construction. Another reason sexual dreams feel powerful is that dreams are emotional first. They do not begin with a thesis. They begin with a charge. Something matters. Something is tense. Something is forbidden. Something is wanted. Something is feared. Something is unresolved. The dream builds a scene to hold that charge. Sometimes the scene is a test. Sometimes it is a warning. Sometimes it is a memory remix. Sometimes it is just your brain combining high emotion with a body state and a random image. That is why the same dream can be both intense and nonsense. It can feel like a message while falling apart under daylight. You try to explain it. The explanation collapses, but the feeling remains. That remaining feeling is what makes people suspicious of themselves. If it meant nothing, why did it feel so real? Because dreams use real machinery. They use memory. They use emotion. They use sensation. They use fear. They use reward. They use old associations. The ingredients are real. The story is assembled. That difference matters. A movie can make your heart race even when the monster is fake. A dream can make you feel shame even when the scene was never chosen. The feeling is real. The conclusion may not be. This is also why stress can change dreams. When your waking life is tense, the sleeping brain has more emotional material to process. Not always in a clean way. Not always in a useful way. Sometimes stress turns into chase dreams. Sometimes it turns into falling dreams. Sometimes it turns into dreams about failure. And sometimes it turns into sexual dreams. Especially when the emotion is mixed with vulnerability, attention, secrecy, or control. The brain does not keep every category separate. It blends. That blending is why a sexual dream is not always about sex. It can be about power, about being wanted, about being exposed, about breaking a rule, about getting close to someone, about losing control, about being seen, about being judged. This is where the dream becomes interesting. Not because it reveals one hidden truth, but because it shows how many different things your brain can dress in the same costume. If you dream about someone forbidden, the dream may be using the feeling of forbiddenness. If you dream about someone distant, it may be using distance. If you dream about someone powerful, it may be using power. If you dream about someone random, it may be using a face that was simply available. The mistake is treating every dream like a direct instruction. Dreams are not instructions. They are simulations, and simulations are allowed to be strange. Your brain simulates threat. It simulates embarrassment. It simulates triumph. It simulates loss. It simulates impossible conversations. It simulates people returning, doors opening, teeth falling, phones not working, exams you forgot to study for, and rooms that keep changing shape. So why would desire be the one thing dreams handle literally? It usually does not. It handles desire the way it handles everything else, by remixing it. This does not mean you should ignore every dream. Sometimes a repeated dream can point toward a repeated concern. Sometimes it can reveal a pattern of loneliness, anxiety, pressure, or unmet emotional need. Sometimes it can show that a person, situation, or feeling keeps taking up space in your mind. But a dream is a clue, not a verdict. You do not have to obey it. You do not have to confess to it. You do not have to build a new identity around one strange night. You can ask better questions. Not, what is wrong with me? But, what was my brain processing? What feeling was strongest? Was the dream about a person? Or about what that person represented? Was it desire, fear, curiosity, loneliness, pressure, shame, or a mix? That last part is important. Usually, it is a mix. The sleeping brain is not a filing cabinet. It is a storm with a memory bank. And in that storm, your private rules are weaker. Your social filters are weaker. Your moral narrator is quieter. The editor is half awake. That is why the dream can go somewhere the waking you would never choose. Then morning arrives. The editor wakes up. The judge walks in. The evidence is confusing. And you are left holding a scene you did not write. So, why do people have sexual dreams? Because the dreaming brain is emotional, physical, associative, and messy. Because REM sleep gives the mind a stage where vivid images, body signals, and memory fragments can combine. Because desire is only one ingredient among many. Because the sleeping brain can turn a signal into a story before the waking brain has a chance to object. That is the strange truth. Your sexual dreams may come from your brain, but they are not always commands from your deepest self. They are not always proof. They are not always prophecy. They are not always betrayal. Sometimes they are just the night shift doing a terrible job with the footage. And that is why the morning feels so strange. You did not approve the movie, but your brain still made it.